Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for the first of my pre-trip videos. So I thought we would start out by going over my new bikepacking bike. I wanted to kind of walk you guys through my selection process and tell you why I chose what I did. And I'm hoping that maybe this will help somebody out there, probably somebody like me. In other words, a short female. In the past, I have done my bikepacking on my full suspension trail bike. And that was fine, but there's a lot of movement in a full suspension frame and there's not always a lot of space for bags and packs. Last year in the UK, I've rented a hardtail. That bike was way too big for me. And so what I set out to find this year was the perfect hardtail. To me, the most versatile bike on the planet. Something that I can ride on pretty much any terrain. I could take it out for a trail ride, but I can also bike pack for days on end. Now I should also add that I do have a gravel bike and that may come out on occasion for some routes, but I'm definitely a person who prefers off-road bike packing. The more single track the better, the rougher the going the better, and so I generally prefer a flat bar bike that will kind of tackle any terrain. So the biggest question for me was wheel size. My trail bike is a 29-inch full suspension and I love it. And I was very concerned that a 27.5 would feel very sluggish. However, that being said, I'm really short. I'm like maybe 5'1". And so in the past, I've had a lot of issues with bags not fitting on small frames and with especially the seat pack rubbing on the rear tire. And so I debated on that for quite a while, but I ultimately decided that because the wheels are the same size no matter what, and you can have anything from an extra small to an extra large frame in between those wheels. The only way to really maximize space, for example, between the saddle and the rear wheel is to go with a smaller wheel size, especially because saddle height, there just isn't any compromise there. You have to have your saddle where it's comfortable for you to pedal. So there's nothing that I could do about that. And so ultimately I set out to find a 27.5. And that alone was kind of limiting. There are a couple of hardtail frames that I liked a lot that didn't even come in a 27.5 option. I wanted something that was modern enough that I could take it out for a trail ride on occasion, but also something that was stable enough for bike packing on a regular basis. So after a lot of research and review and shopping, I decided on the Salsa Timberjack. So the Timberjack went out for several different reasons. First of all, the fact that it's even available in a 27.5. But furthermore, this particular bike, the frame and the fork that they put on it is designed to accommodate either wheel size. So that means that even though I settled on the 27.5, I can always put my 29-inch wheel set on this bike. For that reason, I also looked for a bike that would have a group set that was compatible with my trail bike. So I settled on the SLX version of the Timberjack, which will be completely compatible with the XT group set that's on my trail bike. So if I just put a larger rotor on the rear wheel of this bike, which I will eventually do, those two wheel sets will be completely swappable. And so that makes for a very versatile setup for me. 2 bikes, 2 wheel sets, completely interchangeable. The extra small frame on the Timberjack fits me perfectly. On a small bike, it can be a challenge to get packs and bags that fit appropriately. And luckily, one of the things that Salsa really has going for them is that they design and manufacture packs, bags, racks to accommodate all of their bikes. So I knew that if I had a Salsa, I could order a frame pack from them and I knew that it would fit. This bike does have a dropper post, which is just a great little added benefit. I obviously won't be able to use that bike packing, but it's been great for trail riding. I would have a really hard time going back to not having a dropper post, I think. I did have the bars cut down a little bit. That's the only part of the bike that didn't really fit me. Even the extra small frame comes with 760 bars, which just feels enormous to me. I had gone a couple years ago from 720 on my trail bike to a 750, and even that feels super aggressive and really wide to me. So 760 was just way too much. So I cut these down, or had them cut down to 740. and I think that feels absolutely perfect. The other important thing, of course, is price. I looked at a lot of different bikes and there's quite a wide range, and the Timberjack comes in with the SLX drivetrain at about $1,700, and I thought that was really appropriate. Similar bikes, even ones that didn't have a dropper, for example, came in, around $2,000, and so I think that it's a lot of value for what you get. My only complaint about the bike so far is that it is pretty heavy compared to my trail bike, but I keep reminding myself that this is meant to be a pack mule. That's what I bought it for. It's not a racehorse. And then, of course, there's the all-important topic of availability. We are in the year of the pandemic, of course, and bikes are nowhere to be found. And so luckily, I found that this bike, this frame size, was in stock at a bike shop around Charlotte, North Carolina, and a friend was visiting there and he was able to pick it up and bring it home for me. I think it was the right bike at the right time. So there you have it, the Salsa Timberjack. That is what I have decided on, and I think it's going to be a great bike. I always like to have an extra bike on hand for guests anyway, so it's nice to have something that will be appropriate for trail use, daily trail use, in addition to these long treks. So pretty excited. Stay tuned. We're gonna have some videos coming up here on our gear list and our bike setups and all of that. And then just a couple of weeks before departure. So getting close. All right, thanks for joining and see you next time.